So if you're expecting a Texan accent, I must disappoint you. I'm based in Copenhagen in Denmark. So if you're then envisioning a 1.7 meter tall blonde girl, I must disappoint you again. I wasn't born there. But I do spend my time in Copenhagen, traveling back and forward to Austin, Texas, where Dell is based. I'm responsible for what we call CSMB MarCom operations, which means that if you're a consumer or a small and medium business, and you see a piece of MarCom, either online, print, catalog, at some point of time, that piece of MarCom have been through one of my team members' hands. So we produce all of the marketing material for Dell globally in CSMB space. I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes talking to you about a little bit about how we use some of that technology, how we use data to engage with our customers. I will spend just 1 or 2 slides just talking about Dell for those of you who does not know the details of Dell. So Michael, as you can see on the left here, also created the company in a dorm room back in college. I'm not sure what the real underlying purpose of creating the company was. I hear there was a lot of dating purposes in creating companies in dorm rooms, but Michael really wanted to engage with his fellow students and sell them computers at a much better price than what was available. So it was really the one-to-one configurable, personalized engagements that created the company way back in '84. Michael was 19 years old, and now 27 years later, we are around 100,000 plus employees and have a revenue globally at $60+ billion. But still, the foundation of the company, the one-on-one engagement with customers is still the key of what we do today. When we look at the customer set that we have, some people would look at Dell and go, that's a consumer company, isn't it? You sell a lot of consumer products, and mostly that's because we do a lot of consumer marketing out there, and that's what most people see in the media. But actually, consumers is only one set of our customer set, and it's only represent about 25% of our revenue. So it goes all the way from consumers, small businesses, medium businesses, large enterprises, and all the way up to public and defense, so defense healthcare. We're actually number 1 in healthcare. We're number 1 in enterprise in India. So, so much more outside the consumer space that a lot of people know us for. The purpose of the company, is delivering technology solutions that enable people everywhere to grow and thrive. So that's the purpose of the company. And it comes back to the example we heard earlier today about mobile broadband. It's really technology is the core of all of these scenarios. It's the core of what we do every day and every interactions we have, which is other on emails, there's the cloud, there's a lot of technology out there, and that's part of what the purpose of the company is. So what I'm going to talk to you about is how we use data and how we engage with customers. You see up here, there's different parts of engaging with customers, and we have catalog. We are still spending a lot of money on print, and print in this case being direct mail and catalogs. We're producing, or we have a circulation of something like 65 million a month on catalogs. We're still a big catalog sender. But it's very, very targeted. I'm going to come back to that. Very segmented, very targeted interactions here on that side. That was what we started off doing. About mid-90s, we went into online, and we were the first company to hit $1 million daily revenue online. We are still the second largest e-commerce site out there. And online is again, very, very segmented. We're going to talk about behavioral targeting a little bit later, but really segmented into the different customer sets we had. There's a lot of content there. Some of it is Dell created. Some of it we partner with a lot of you folks that are here in the audience in creating that content for online. And then one of the last things that we embarked on is the whole journey of social. And I'm going to speak much more about social a little bit later. But again, it's the same one-on-one interactions that Michael set out the company in '84 that we now have gone through with the online, where you could configure your PC exactly like you wanted it, engage with us one-on-one on the online media that are now into the social space. If you look at some of the data models, and I'm not going to take you through the whole model here of what goes in and the algorithms and all of the acronyms here, but it really starts out with good customer profiling. It's the segmentation of the customer, it's understanding what that customer set wants. Because we heard the word relevant very many times during today, and we're probably going to hear it a lot tomorrow. Advertising is really about having that right message. So really understanding your customer set. Then we go into a lot of data mining. It goes into this huge, big black box for some people like me that doesn't understand the technology behind it, but it really collects all of the information, all of the behavioral information we have for what do you do on the online side? How do you interact with us when you're calling our sales queues? What was the interaction you had with us when you had a service problem and you spoke with one of our tech support representatives? How is the behavior and your reactions when you get some direct mail from us? And all of that gets into the integrated model that then, based on frequency and reach and propensity and different scoring models, goes into the big funnel and outcome, hopefully what we consider being relevant communication. Again, that goes into the loop of learning based on that feedback and the interactions we had with customers. So really spending a lot of time on the analytic approach. A lot of that is going into online. So it says here digital is in the heart of everything we do. Approximately half of our spend goes into digital media. So this is, these are the medias that we buy, so it excludes the catalog and direct mail. But of all of the rest, half of it is really into digital medias. So I don't know what the average in your companies is, but we're hearing that on average is way, way lower than this. And we're constantly pushing for new ways to engage online with our customer set. Also, the way that we have transformed the media spend is very, very significant over the last couple of years. So 5 years ago, we had the biggest proportion of that going into very, very traditional paid media. As we have evolved over the last couple of years, now we have a much more balanced view about the earned and owned and paid media. And it mentions here that we're named the #1 most social brand in the ranking of top 100 brands. And I'm going to talk to you about what have we done in social, so what is that, and how did we get there? So social media is one of these areas that there's a lot of debate going on in most companies. Should we allow our employees to get into Facebook during the work hours? Is it open? Should we control it? What is our policy around that? We embarked on the whole social media a couple of years ago and decided we want to be part of it. We don't want to constrain it. So what we did instead was we created a SMAC University, Social Media and Community University, and we're educating all employees. So the 100,000 plus employees that want to be educated in how do you behave in social. How do you behave when you're out there? Because they are out there and I'm out there. So I want to understand how do I represent my company in the best set when I'm spending my evenings on Facebook or when I'm sitting on a conference and Twittering. So one of the things we did a social media principles handbook. We're having some trainings for all employees. There's a series of different trainings, and depending on how many trainings you do in classes, some of them are face-to-face, some of them are online classes. Depending on how many you do, you get certified to do different behaviors. So if you just take the first class, you get an understanding of what is social media and how does it impact Dell. If you take class number 4, you get certified to actually go out and represent Dell in the marketplace. So one of the things you'll learn, some of it is very simple things. It's like if you want to go and engage on behalf of Dell, we have the 10 magic words, as we call them, which is, hey, my name is Anja and I work for Dell, which is very important every time you engage. So there's full transparency that you're coming from Dell and that you're opinionated about what you may be talking about the products. But it's also things like how do you redirect information you hear out there. So if you have customers that have had a technical support issue and they're complaining, and you see that on a Twitter post, how do you know exactly and where do you send these people to? So we do have Twitter accounts that is #DellCares that Actually, we have a big team overviewing and supporting customers online through that. So we want to make sure that everyone understands where to direct people to. So it's been a huge success. We have approximately around 30,000 conversations happening about Dell every day, and we have at this point of time somewhere, it grows tremendously every single day, but somewhere over 7,000 people that are totally certified within this social media training, and it grows every single day. One of the things that we also done, we created this command center. It kind of looks like this big brother is watching you type of thing, but it's not. It's really engagements and listening to what customers says about Dell out there. So we have a team that sits in Austin, Texas, and monitors all of the conversation that goes on about us out in the media. There's also local small command centers. They don't look like this fancy one up here in each of the countries. So in Denmark, it's 2 people that are sitting with a PC, so nothing fancy like this, but still the basics are the same. Looking at the conversations and engaging with the customers every single day. So if you ever buy in Austin, Texas, please pop by and we will give you a tour of the command center. So moving a little bit into behavioral targeting. So we spoke about this, the right message at the right time for each person. Really back to what Michael set up the company to do, what we have in the social engagements. It's about serving you up the best message that we can. So we've done that. We did that a couple of years ago. We kicked it off. Obviously, as the whole advertising space gets more and more cluttered, the prices go up, and we have people tuning out from advertising, and we wanted to make sure that we were still engaging with people with the right message. So as you visit our website, we do cookie you. We have, at this point of time, around 30 million plus cookies of users. You would probably say it's more a US phenomenon. It's definitely not. We have it equally spread, 40% in the US, 40% in EMEA, around at this point of time, 20% in APJ. So once you get on the site, we cookie you. As you then walk around in the internet or travel around the internet, we recognize you, and then we serve up the advertising of the things, just like we just saw an example of with the car before. It is, at this point of time, around 20% of the total impressions that we do, and it represents about 60% of that generated revenue. So it could be, so if you have to do this, it's a lot of different pieces that has to be done. And obviously, yes, we need to target the MarCom that we produce based on this whole idea of serving up the right information. So we've gone into dynamic content solutions of different sorts. This is a very, very simple example, just like the one with the car. It changes out the savings, it changes out the product name, it changes out the product image based on what we know that you're interested in. And serves up different dynamic versions. This is a very, very simple banner. We do the same thing on email. Obviously, it goes a little bit, becomes a little bit more complex. And we do have the print versions of more like dynamic, on-the-fly, automated content creations that we use in our CRM programs of our lifecycle management systems. So again, at this point of time, 40% of our BT and behavioral targeting creative is done automated. And this is obviously a very, very simple example of that. So there is a couple of things to watch out for. I'm not going to go through the whole list here and talk about them, but as you start building up these big databases of customer information, there's a lot of privacy rules that we need to be very, very clear of. So that is one big call out I want to say. Different rules in different countries, in different regions, and again, very, very important to keep an eye on. There's also the creative and asset storage. So how do you manage all of these assets? These were the flat files of a banner. Obviously, as you go into more flash creative, you go into video, it gets more and more complicated, all of that. And also on that, it's the whole data storage and security aspects. And then the last thing I want to say is, there's a lot of data here, there's a lot of testing going on, but not everything can be proven up front. Sometimes, and And to some extent, if you want to make sure that everything works before you even start it, it is going to kill some of the innovation. So it is 50% science, it is 50% art. Sometimes you just jump out there and go, let's go try it and see what that comes out of it. But data is definitely a very, very important point, and it can help you in your art not getting too far down a tangent. And then in a company like ours, where we have so much data, we tend to take 2 data points and making that a trend, and churning a lot on the organization, saying, oh, we all need to go that way because the data shows, and sometimes the data shows something else a couple of hours later in those markets where you actually monitor these things on an hourly basis. So there's still a point of 2 data points is not a trend, and there is a lot of art going into this as well. So in the end, I just want to leave you with listen, engage, and act upon the information. And if any of you want to go down that route, we do have storage solutions and server solutions and security solutions to help you down that path. And if you visit our website, we will cookie you and hopefully serve something up for you at a later point. Thank you.